Spam. 25% less sodium in this one. This amorphous pink blob of meat. Packaged in a can. I could buy it at the supermarket, yet how do I know it's safe to eat? How do I know what goes into it? Who regulates this? How did it come to be like this?
We got it all in this glass container. Yeah, so since we went through all the effort of making that, might as well try it. Let's see here, we got one of the little cubes here. Yeah, it was pretty mid. I don't know what I was expecting. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's so glad to have you. And today we're talking about The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Yeah, I got this weird meat shake from 7-Eleven. I don't know. So I think because we only have 10 minutes, we should just get right into it, you know? So I guess I should start off this section with a little bit of history behind The Jungle. The Jungle was written by Upton Sinclair, as you can see a picture there. Upton Sinclair was an American. He was born in 1978. And as he was growing up, he kind of experienced both wealth and poverty. From like a younger age, this divide kind of led to him developing like socialist ideologies. He kind of latched onto that. So after going to college up in New York, he graduated, and to make money, he started writing stuff for newspapers, just tiny publications. So after about 8 years of kind of doing this, he got his big break in 1905. This socialist newspaper called Appeal to Reason sent him undercover in Chicago, the meat packing plants over there, the stockyards as they're called. He went undercover. For 7 weeks, he interviewed a ton of people there. He saw what life was like there, how they were working, and he began writing sections of The Jungle. And a year later, 1906, all the chapters were complete, published in this one book. It became very popular. It was like kind of like PETA, like shock, like it had that shock factor to it. This kind of public shock over the food, it was nothing new. There were like already kind of smaller pushes from scientists to add more regulation into how the food was handled, the kind of the stuff going into it, the chemicals. And this book was kind of just the final push to that. In the same year, 1906, that's when the Pure Food and Drug Act passed. And if that's all you get from this video, then that's probably not that bad, because that's just what they say in history class. Oh, this book made the FDA thing. And this is kind of where like the big misconception around this book comes from. The book was actually written as like a call to unite these workers, unionize, and to take control of their lives. But people just like completely ignored that. So yeah, that's my intro. Let's get into the book itself. So we gotta just get this one done quick because we don't have a lot of time. So Jurgis Redkis, a Lithuanian, he engages someone named Ona who's like 16, it's weird. And they want to move to America. They, along with a couple other people, they all move to America. They don't know what they're doing. People continuously take advantage of them on the way there. They get there into Chicago. They go to the stockyards. They don't know any like English or anything. And it's like really bad there. It's very dirty. But these people, they just came into America. They're pretty strong and healthy from their life over in Lithuania. So all the men, they find jobs pretty quickly compared to everyone else. And you know, it's a pretty large group of people. They go find a house. And then from there, it just kind of goes on the decline really quickly. There's a ton of hidden fees with the house. The conditions are like slowly wearing away at the people. And here's a big point of the story. They have a wedding ceremony, and that uses like all of their savings they have left. So they have like no money. Jurgis' father dies. Jonas, one of the people he leaves, he just disappears. They have like no money coming in. They're starving. Jurgis and Ona do have a little kid, but they don't really love each other. Jurgis finds out Ona's boss is like taking advantage of her. He beats the dude up, gets like sent to jail for it. Once he gets out, the house is gone, couldn't afford it. Nothing is going as planned at all. They're back into this really dingy, gritty apartment. There's literally a chicken coop in the back of it. Ona's pregnant from the boss, and she dies giving birth. And Jurgis, he's like struggling, but he says, I'll do it for my kid. Like a week later, his kid drowns in the street. So Jurgis just is like, you know, this place is literally hell. What am I doing? He just hops on the back of a train, like climbs up on it, gets the hell out of there. And that's the end of part 1. Now, analyzing this chapter, more of it is meant to be taken literally, because I mean, that's where like the importance of this book comes from. The literal descriptions of, oh, this was happening, people freaking out over it. And I mean, clearly it works because the FDA exists. But looking into the more like, oh, you got to analyze it side of things. The house, yeah, I said earlier, is definitely the biggest thing here, because it kind of represents just everything going on. Like at first, you know, they're just going about their lives. They say, hey, we got this house, we can afford it because look at how much money we got coming in. We got all these people with jobs, we should be fine. But there's like a ton of hidden fees that they could have never anticipated, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And they realize that like everything they've been told about this house was a lie. It wasn't new when they bought it. It was actually like 15 years old. There was like an old lady that lived in the neighborhood, and she talks about all the past families that live there. And it's like a cycle that keeps going on where a new wave of immigrants come in to work, go into these housing units. They all think they're going to do good, but it just goes completely wrong for them. And like there's the battle these people are fighting to pay for the house in the first place. They put everything into it. Like Jurgis's father, he literally dies for this. So it raises kind of a big point, like if your family is literally starving and dying just for some money for this house, is the money really like more important than your life? But then what's the alternative? Living on the street? Well, that's like what Jurgis ends up doing later on. So yeah, that's the biggest symbol in this part of the book. What are you doing? Come on. You got anything to say? You heard it from her, folks. That's what the jungle's about. Yeah, that's just kind of a basic overview of this part. So yeah, on to the next part. All right, so we're a little late for the sunset, but we're out here and it's nice. So in the second half of the jungle, it starts off with Jurgis, getting on the train. He goes out to the countryside. He starts learning the ways of the hobo. He goes to a bunch of farms where there's work. Now, this is the first time he's really happy again after everything started going wrong. And I think that's supposed to be like a catch-all commentary on like, well, capitalism sucks and America sucks because, once he leaves the system, suddenly his life is like so much better even though he's gone through all this stuff. This is the kind of where Jurgis starts to think for himself. Like he meets a farmer, and the farmer, he doesn't want to give work to Jurgis. He tells Jurgis to go to the city for work. And Jurgis is like, that's what everyone else thinks. So everyone's going to go there. The cities are overcrowded. Everyone's homeless, and that's the situation. And the farmer just sits there, and he actually takes Jurgis in. A different farmer refuses to pay him, so he just tears up all his crops. So after he runs away, comes winter, and of course there's nothing going to be done on the farm. So he goes back to Chicago, and surprise, he's homeless. Nobody wants to hire him. He's cold. He has to like beg for a ton of stuff. He barely finds food. There's a lot of commentary here about just how like Americans hate homeless people and how they like always go after them even though they're just trying to survive. It also kind of shows there's a lot of infighting. Like, so he's just barely surviving, and then one day there's like this really, really drunk dude he runs into while like fleeing from a fight. So this drunk dude, he takes Jurgis with him to his freaking mansion in the middle of the city, and he's just talking all this stuff about all these paintings and shit. Like he like has like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. It was like a single chapter, so I think it was just a throwaway thing, just showing,
wow, look how stupid these rich people are, look how arrogant and entitled they are, and look how they don't even appreciate their own wealth and their own opportunities.
But the dude does give him $100 bill, and he holds on tight to that shit, takes this money, goes, gets it broken, but the dude like rips him off. Instead of $100, he gives him 99 cents. Jurgis is so mad. He lunges at the dude, starts fighting him, goes back to jail, and here he meets one of his old friends that he met, Pat, in the jail. And this is the weirdest section ever. So let's get into it. So this section is the craziest one, probably. So now that Jurgis is in jail, he runs into one of his old friends that he met back in the first half of the book. And this dude, he's like a career criminal. He's been in and out. And he gets them out very quickly because he has those connections. He dives right into a life of crime right there. It starts out with like basic robbery, but it soon escalates. He's getting more and more money. He doesn't go to jail because he has connections with all the judges. He ends up going back to the stockyards, but this time he wasn't just some common worker. No, he was a union spy. And he starts rigging the elections. And this was something that Upton Sinclair said that the people he interviewed were talking about, that the elections were being rigged. So this whole section, what is it about? It's just kind of the rundown of the corruption that comes with late-stage capitalism. I mean, rigging elections, spies, there's a whole network of people paying each other off and no consequences for anybody. This all kind of comes to a head when Jurgis runs back into Ono's old boss. He loses it again. The scene is described like the exact same way. But that boss has more power than Jurgis, so Jurgis ends up using the last of his money to pay off the judge, and he's back out on the street with nothing yet again. That's kind of the last interesting thing. The rest of it is just socialism propaganda. So this last part is like the socialism arc. Like everything before had themes of socialism, but it was not as direct as this. Like, agree with it or not, it is the definition of propaganda. So Jurgis, he meets someone he used to know that passes him on the street, and they point him toward where his family has gone. They're not doing too well. One of them, Maria, she was like a big, strong woman. She retired to a brothel. She's addicted to morphine. So Jurgis, he's trying to find a job living with LGBT in the apartment. It's not going too well. And so he stumbles into a bar, and there's like a big speaker talking about socialism. And it is literally like a several page just rant about socialism. From there on, it's literally just pages and pages of rants about socialism. Jurgis goes to more and more meetings. He literally like loses himself in this. He stops talking to his family. He like becomes like a Redditor. He goes to like some dinner party. That's like where it ends. It's so anticlimactic. It's just some dude talking about, oh, we will win. We are winning in the polls. Chicago will be ours. And so they start chanting that. You know, I was reading like through the book. Okay, you flip to the last page to see what the words are. And I saw that. I was like, oh, they're gonna like be revolting in the streets. No, they're just at a dinner party being like incels on Reddit. So yeah, I guess what you can gather from that is Upton Sinclair is very passionate about socialism. And I guess this kind of like fan fiction about socialism winning out in all the polls, it wasn't necessarily completely wrong, because there was a rise in socialist thinking around that time, although it definitely didn't do anything considering where we're at right now. Appeal to Reason, the newspaper The Jungle was published in, literally gets mentioned. Like Jurgis is like fanboying over this publication. He's passing it out in secret in the back alleys of the stockyards, bro. But yeah, so that's the ending of The Jungle. Very anticlimactic, but funny as hell. Well, yeah, that was The Jungle. I'm sorry I'm pushing the limit a little, I know. But I just got to make the closing remarks. It was kind of rushed, so I know it might be a little boring. I didn't really get a chance to do anything too fun with it like I hoped, so that was kind of disappointing. But I do feel like this video was a pretty decent overview of The Jungle. It hit all like the main points. A few things I missed out on was there was like a bar fight scene. I really wanted to include that because Upton Sinclair, he was like notoriously unhappy with the novel. It missed out on that socialist message. He was very upset. He really wanted to hit that, but no, everyone only focused on the food part. One kind of big thing I didn't touch on in the novel itself, but in like one of the chapters, it gets like really racist, and that kind of really sucks. It just shows how dated the novel is. Even like other socialists at the time were like criticizing him for it. So thank you for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I might see you in the next one. Who knows? Goodbye. Goodbye.